Okay, so the microphone doesn't work. Does it go back and forth now? Oh, nice. So that sets it. Okay, so then I'm going to go over here. I finally figured out the thing that I wanted to for a long time. Okay. I think I'm recording. Okay, I'm ready. So we're going to do a z-test for a proportion. So we've already done a z-test for a mean, and then we've done a t-test for a mean. So now we're doing a proportion. Remember, proportions are p hat. I also have everything graded too, you guys.
Ooh, I'm
Yeah.
not looking.
Well, no, just do notes.
I am doing those, but I can multitask.
Okay. So, since a normal distribution can be used to approximate a binomial distribution when NP is greater than 5 and NQ is greater than 5, remember those are just our requirements for a proportion either way. Remember, N is the number of things I have, P is the probability of whatever it is you're looking for happening, Q is the probability of whatever you're not looking for happening. Okay, the standard normal distribution can be used to test hypothesis for proportions. So the z-test for the proportion is given like this guy. We've already used a pretty similar formula from the last chapter. Let me click through this one. I'm forgetting to click. Okay, p hat is just the number of things you have over n. If you already have a percentage or a decimal, that's just whatever your p hat is, and you just happen to not have to find it. Okay, I'm going to write down this formula so that I don't forget things either. I don't need this guy up here anymore. Different class. Z is equal to, I'm going to write it up higher. Z equals p hat minus p, so the sample proportion, minus the actual proportion, and then the square root of PQ over N. Okay, again, this is something I would do the top and the bottom all separately. So I have to have that guy down. We're going to do an example with that. A dietitian claims that 60% of people are trying to avoid trans fats in their diets. She randomly selected 200 people and found that 128 people stated that they were trying to avoid trans fat in their diets. At alpha equals 0.05, is there enough evidence to reject the dietitian's claim? Okay, so she randomly selected 200, so this is my N. Found that 128 people, this is my X. Only thing I'm going to use my X for is to find my P hat. 60% is going to be my hypothesis, or it's going to be my null hypothesis. My alpha is 0.05, so let's just kind of go through our steps, our main steps. State the hypothesis and identify the claim. So that's our alternative and our null hypothesis. I'm going to write it over here as well. So our null hypothesis, P equals 0.60. That was what was given to us. Okay, she doesn't say anything, any keywords that suggest greater than or less than. So we just say our alternative hypothesis is that P is not equal to 0.60. Okay, P is not equal to 0.60. That means it's going to be a two-tailed test. Okay. Okay, so there's just different pieces of information you're kind of looking for as you go on. Next piece, the critical values that we're going to use are alpha, or I always mix up 2 and 3. So 0.05, two-tailed test. I don't like just trying to memorize them. You can just totally memorize them if you want to. I don't think that's the way to go. I'm going to use my little chart deal.
She doesn't think that that's the way to go.
I don't think memorizing it is the way to go. I think it's easier to sit around the chart thing. If you know where all the numbers are coming from, it makes it easier to just look them up. I must have to get these out every day, and I can never put them away. Okay, so we go over here, 0.05. We do alpha 0.05. That means since it's a two-tailed, I really need alpha over 2, which is going to be 0.025. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go on my chart, 0.025. Find it on my chart. That's even the wrong chart. I really can't do anything. Okay, and yes, it really should be negative 1.96. I just don't think it's easier to memorize it than it is to just go find it. Okay, I go find it on the negative side. My negative side's over here, and I find that negative 205, 025. I can't even talk now. Okay, so it's actually a nice even one. it's negative, it's the same when it's negative and when it's positive.
Why is that one all?
I don't,
red?
the laminator, I imagine, just wasn't hot when I actually did it. So, I probably just, I think it's really old too.
Really
I think I
old?
used it a couple years ago, 4 years ago. Okay, that's our first step. Second step would have
It's
been,
funny when people actually pay attention to what was said before I say that.
I used it like 4 years ago. Insane? How is,
Don't worry about it.
okay, whatever. So since it's two-tailed, it's a positive and negative 196. So we go through, where'd my pointer go? My clicker. Okay, the compute the test value is that part where we're actually going to use that formula. So actually using this formula up here. So
Is that your A or a retarded like fish?
both, it's alpha.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So Z, my p hat. What would my p hat be? So I need to do 128 to find over 200 to find my p hat. You guys have calculators.
Not on me.
128 over 200. Just get a calculator.
I don't know my phone.
Yeah, I don't currently do it on. 128 over 200 because mine is used for testing right now. 0.64. Okay, so my p hat is 0.64. So now we're going to plug it all into our not into our calculator, into our formula. So we have 0.64 minus 0.60 over the square root of p.
Wait, why is it? Oh, you just don't have the zero on it. Okay, sorry.
P hat or p was 0.6. Q then would be times 0.4 over. It said I had 200 people.
Wait, why do you have to put it over something now?
What do you mean? Because that's what my formula says.
No, not wrong.
So I'm just gonna type it all in and plug it in the formula. We're gonna let them do the math for us since we don't have calculators. We need to remember that z equals 0.115, and then we're drawing our pictures for it. When we draw our pictures, that was a terrible one. I will not even try to keep that one. Okay, I have my z-scores, so I have 95% here in the middle.
Yeah, you do.
I have 0.025 out here on each edge. My z-scores for that, so I need all these little pictures each time. My z-score here would be negative 1.96. Over here would be positive 1.96.
Peter commercial.
Where is 1.15? 1.15 is just right in here.
I know.
It's also
Okay.
the same
Okay, so 1.15, yeah, we're just putting that on the graph. So I'll go to the next one, which will probably also have the same graphy thing. Pretty much drawn. So with it in here, do I accept or do I reject it? Okay,
Stop, dude.
it's in the middle here. So while it's in the middle, on the two-tailed one,
And that sounds really weird.
that sounds weird too. Don't do that. Okay, since it's in that middle area, not on one of the edges, we don't have enough evidence to reject it. I'm clicking the wrong thing. So we do not reject the null hypothesis since the test value falls outside the critical region or inside the non-rejection region. Don't worry about what regions are called.
Yeah, because that just made no sense.
Yeah. Yep, I know. This is, we don't reject it because it's not on the outside there. Okay, summarize. There's not enough evidence to reject the claim that 60% of people are trying to avoid trans fat in their diets. To reject the claim. So make sure you have reject in there somewhere to not reject or to reject. Okay, our next example. You have to give me time to clear out my nose every time. Okay. Next example. The Family Leave Medical Act provides job protection for unpaid time off from work for serious illness or birth of a child.
Hey.
Oh my God. In 2000, 60% of respondents of a survey stated that it was very easy to get time off for these circumstances. A researcher wishes to see if the percentage who said that it was very easy to get time off has changed. So has changed, that is going to also be a not equal to, which is going to be a two-tailed
Damn.
one. Okay?
No.
Why? Stop talking so much. So N equals 100 because I asked you to.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, a sample of 100 people who used the leave said that 53% found it was easy. 0.53 found it was easy to use the leave. Add an alpha of 0.01 has a percentage change. And just so you know, in case you ever do this, Family Leave Medical Act only uses, you're only able to claim that for larger businesses. I think it's down to like 30 or 50 employees. I think it's like 50 employees. Because actually, like, even though like I was able to get time off for having the baby, I just had to take my time off, which either way, you still have to take your time. Sick time, whatever time it is you have, personal time. So, like, they're pretty good here, but they wouldn't actually have to have kept my job for me, if that makes sense. Which, just
So what
under
you're
the.
saying is I need to work.
No, we're
Shut your
talking.
mouth.
You just need to work at a bigger place
I
if
need to
you
work
want
in a really
maternity
big
leave.
hospital so that way I can have maternity leave.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be huge. Like, I mean, most hospitals are gonna have more than 50 people working.
Stop talking
Okay.
yourself.
We're gonna use our, we're just gonna go through and read them. So it said if it differs is not equal to as well. So we're going through that. I
Wait.
think,
Sorry, remind me again, is it plus and minus because it's two-tailed?
yes.
Okay, then we're good. I'm
Yep.
good. Keep going, sorry.
Yep, anything else, so we would have had to split this in two, so it would have been 0.01 divided by 2, which would have been 0.005, and then you would have looked for 0.005 on your chart thing,
Okay.
and after you find it on your chart thing, then you can just use the positive negative piece. Okay, because they're going to be the same on both sides. So we let them just do all the math for us. Plugging things in the formula, computing the test value, that is like the z-score formula that we gave you, that's about the worst step. I think 2 and 3 are pretty much the worst things. Finding the chart is step 2, and step 3 is actually using the information they gave you. Okay, so let's try to do one that's not two-tailed, so we can kind of see a different one. I don't know, okay, I should have moved those up there a little bit. Okay, so -143, so it's within this non-rejection region, so we're not rejecting the claim. So this is pretty much, I don't even know why they gave you pretty much 2 of almost the same sort of examples. Okay. Okay, there's not enough evidence to reject the claim that it has changed from 60%, is basically what you're going to say.
See, I was gonna say, I think the thing that's gonna confuse me the most on here is if you support or reject or the evidence. That's gonna just screw with me.
We don't really ever support anything, so we
We're just
did not
rejectors?
support it. That was fine. We can also reject or not reject is usually kind of the correct wording. Okay. We can't really ever say for sure so that we can support it, and that was the same exact things, really. That was it. Okay, hopefully it should be pretty similar then, since there wasn't even another example. Do you guys want me to try to find another example that's not a two-tailed one?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
What's homework question?
Homework questions. I want you to do.
Are you still recording?
Yeah, I am. Just until I write questions out. So they kind of have the steps for you written out. So there's A, B, C, D, E parts, which is just the step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for each question. So I want you to do 1, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. And then 8 through 10. I think we'll be good. On page 442.